I'm John Ioannidis. I'm a professor of medicine and of epidemiology and population health at Stanford University. I'm one of the two co-directors of the Meta Research Innovation Center at Stanford, or METRICS. My research is interested in appraising evidence, in trying to understand data, strengths of data and weaknesses of data, and trying to make sure that we have the most useful information to make decisions that matter. Unfortunately, much of the information that we have collected so far, and this is not to blame anyone, it's just something that has arisen very fast and has caught us off guard in a way. It's a new pandemic. Most of that information is not reliable. We have increasing evidence that many of the key features that pertain to what this pandemic is about, how lethal is that virus, how many people it has infected or will infect, what is likely to be the eventual impact, and how effective are the different measures that we're applying. We have major gaps in practically all of those fronts. The WHO indeed released an estimate of a case fatality rate of 3.4%, which at the time of the release earlier in March, it was based on the number of people who had died as the nominator and the number of people who had documented infections as the denominator. And information from settings where we have more complete information about that denominator suggests that the infection fatality rate is much, much lower. We do have some situations currently where we are approximating that number with some fair accuracy. One situation was actually a very early experience in the course of the pandemic. We have a cruise ship, Diamond Princess, where we had an outbreak of SARS-CoV-2. Many people got infected. This is a situation where you have a closed space. People cannot really go anywhere. They live in very close quarters together for the duration of the cruise. So we had an infection rate of close to 20%, 19% of the passengers and crew got infected. And among those who were infected, as of now, 1% has died. 1% is a figure that pertains to a population of mostly elderly people. The mean age of the passengers and crew was 58 years old, and the median, I believe, was close to 65. And we know now that there's a very strong age gradient. People who are older have a higher risk. People who are young have a much lower risk. If you try to adjust for the age difference between the passengers and the crew and the general population of a country like the US, probably an estimate anywhere between 0.05 up to 1% may be more reasonable to consider as opposed to, let's say, 3.4%. Probably an estimate anywhere between 0.05 up to 1% may be more reasonable to consider as opposed to, let's say, 3.4%. I am collaborating with scientists who are leading the Italian response, and I'm trying to get their insights. And this has been a very interesting puzzle.